Evening viewers, welcome round 5 action here. Sim Racers Asia brought to you by Apex Racing TV. I'm Brenton O'Brien. Normally my co-host Jake Blackhall will be with me tonight. He's not here. I've got Scotty Newton's going to be playing the cameras, doing a little bit of talking as well. So Scotty, first of all, welcome to the broadcast.
Hello Brenton, hello viewers. Good to be here for round 5 of the Sim Racers Asia GT3 Series, and looking forward to the race today.
Yeah, mid-Ohio, it's a challenging track, isn't it? And the GT3s, there's been talk that they're not that well suited here, but I probably disagree. The times are very, very competitive. We've got another 5 minutes to go of qualifying, and the times are very, very close. We could go through so far on provisional pole Mad Cow Racing, Lars Jefferson with a 21.530, down to 9th place now for Paul Nelson with a 21.978, so less than half a second covers that top 9. I'm just going to go through the weather with you. It's pretty warm, has to be said. Clear 27 degrees, track temperature of 46 degrees, south winds at 19. So I don't think there's going to be a need to save fuel tonight, not with those temperatures. I think it'll be a pretty straight run. 33 laps is what the prediction is. So looking forward, it's a track with a bit of character. 3.62 k's. It's used quite a bit of late, I've noticed, and I think the GT3s are fairly well suited here. Going to the points so far in the Pro-Am Drivers' Championship, which is where we are now. Adam Zeitinger for Evolution Racing Australia in the 000 Mercedes-Benz on 170 points. The thing is, I was only talking to Adam before, he only just jumped in round 2 just to do a couple of races, and after getting on the podium there and following up with a win in round 3, and then second place I think it was, or third place last week in round 4, so all of a sudden he's had to reschedule a few Saturday nights. I know he's going to be away shortly for a couple. Paul Lonigan 11 points down for Green Hornet Racing. They really have a full-on commitment to this series. Jason Bentz, after the strong series start that he had, winning round 1, fell away badly round 2, but he's only the 20 points off now, and is always threatening. Cohen Klopman has run all 4 races consistently, been up top 5 generally. You'll see him 131 points. Lars Jefferson, who's had 2 good results and 2 did not start, in 5th. Hayden Burns not racing tonight, I don't think. Hayden, I thought I saw some chat from him before. Kevin Huang, Tobias Cherney, winner last week, Anthony Winkelman, the defending series champion, I know that he's here, and Brian Ball will round out the top 10. So going through now to the Teams Championship, Laser Racing Simulate It are well and truly in front there. Some 4 very good results. They're on 440 points, 106 points ahead of the Privateers. I think we can scrap that. Green Hornet Racing 280, so it's 160 points difference just there. Archipelago Racing, Mad Cow Racing, Eurasia Sim Sports, ERA Rensport, Macau iRacing Team, and in 10th place Bike Foe Racing. So yeah, it's a strong field. Mark Lang, we talk about what he does week in, week out. At the moment, I think we've only got the 18 cars on the grid, so numbers are down, it would have to be said, but we do run 2 splits now, so that makes a bit of a change. And we've got a minute left of qualifying now. Doesn't look like the track favours any particular car. We've got an Audi on pole at the moment with Lars Jefferson. Anthony Winkelman in that car 96. He's actually not out on track at the moment. And Tobias Cherney, well, we know what he can do, and in 3rd place. So the Audis are on 1st and 2nd at the moment. Tobias in the McLaren. Mick Hammond running the Ford GT. Series leader Adam Zeitinger, who has really, in his own words, struggled here, but he's still got up to 5th place. But I think more damage limitation this week for the Triple O. Tim Ryan, teammate in the Maverick Water car. Cohen Klopman would be disappointed, I think, at the moment with that lap time. Here's an identical time to Paul Lonigan of 21.890. Down to Tino Hauser, another one who I thought probably be up there, but you've got to look at how much track time these guys have had. Tino Hauser in 13th place at 22.722. So the checker flag is about to come out to 1, and now comes that checkered flag so the cars will be able to finish the lap that they are on, and I'll get back and see if there's any changes. But at the moment, I don't think Winkelmann's on a quick lap. Pretty sure that he's not. Kevin Huang in 12th place at 22.448, and if he just makes a tenth of a second improvement, he'll go up a couple. It looks like a pretty good lap for car 212 Kevin Huang Archipelago Racing, and he's just looped it there, so that will be a no time for Kevin Huang. Cohen Klopman has also looped it. Tobias Cherney, we could jump on him with the car 16. And no one's doing us any favours here, are they? I reckon that that's about it. Anthony Winkelmann is not going to include this lap, so that is it for qualifying, Scotty. I shall give you a couple of seconds and then we'll go through the results. Okay, so Lars Jefferson and Mancow guys last week at that long 6-hour BS race certainly held their heads up high. It was a tough race, there's no doubt, bringing that car home in decent spot. But tonight, Lars Jefferson 21.530, so just over a tenth quicker than Anthony Winkelmann, the series defending champion. He's done a lot of laps here this week, so I expect big things from Anthony Winkelmann. Tobias Cherney, I think the McLaren will struggle with its tyres. I think it will cook them, and Tobias is very, very good with the strategy side of the thing with the fuel saving. So I'm not going to pick Tobias for the win. Mick Hammond, the Ford GT's been running strong, certainly most of the week from what I see. Adams Oettinger 21.826, 1 thousandths ahead of teammate Tim Ryan, driving in the BMW. Cohen Klopman and Paul Lonergan exactly the same time at 21.890, so that's about their limit, I think. Paul Nelson, Benjamin Hakeson got himself into the top 10 for the Apex Racing with a 22.375. Yazrin Yali, Kevin Huang, Tino Hauser, Jason Scully, Jason Bent's another one who'd probably be a bit disappointed at 22.942. I don't think he had much running in practice. So Matt Shinosky, Brian Borg, 23 flat, Simon Jorge Sanchez, Dike Lee will round out the times that have been put in, and Dike 3.5 seconds off. So it could be one of those races where Dike Lee might be able to pick a couple of positions off, but it's a 19 cars on the field. I know the F1s will be running shortly, so we'll get this race done, and then you can head over to Race Spot and watch your F1s. But it's always on iRacing. Plenty of live timing and live action, and really looking forward to seeing what this race can bring.
Yeah, definitely, especially with some of the... Oh, sorry, buddy.
No, you talk away, mate. It doesn't bother me at all.
Oh yeah, just looking at the qualifying times and the calibre of the drivers, it should be a really close race, especially with the fuel ceiling that the cars have. So whether a pit stop will be a factor of the day will be quite an interesting topic for the race.
Yeah, I'm very, very confident. I've got obviously a little bit of inside information. I know from Tobias Cherney, I know he won't be stopping. Fairly confident the ERA cars won't be stopping as well, but it's how well you can look after your tyres in this temperature, isn't it? It's significant that you don't take tyres in these races anyway. It just takes too long to swap them over, and there's some cars that I've seen in the Blancpain Sprint Series this week who left their tyres on because they have struggled with tyres, but I think ultimately it's a loss. So looking forward to seeing, like Lars Jefferson, he's just been significantly better than a lot at the moment. He's driving that Audi so well, and considering that in the BS Pro Series that the Mad Cow guys don't run in the Audi, they run the BMWs, I think. Oh God, that's going to come back and bite me, I know. It might be Mercs. But it's been a pretty busy schedule, but he's done such a good job, and the team behind him is exceptional, and looking forward to seeing what Lars can bring to the table. Anthony Winkelmann, we know he's actually a defending series champion, so the cars are lining up already. Pace cars in green, and away they go. So a really, really good jump by Lars there. Anthony Winkelmann settled into second. The scheduling here with no stops, it looks like a car off in the background. DK Lee, was it? No, Matt Shinosky. So I didn't see what happened to Matt. I'll just have a look there. Oh, he's just looped it coming out the exit the last turn. So his day is done before he's even made the start-finish line, unfortunately for him. So unlucky there for Matt, and it's not certainly what he was after there. But as the cars come down that main back straight, looks all pretty clean. Who's that? Tim Ryan from 6 on the grid has found a series leader. Wow, just got absolutely Liberace by Ben Hakeson there. I think that's what's happened here. Oh my gosh, that's terrible. So Hakeson has absolutely punted the series leader Adam Zotinga and didn't even get close to hitting his brake marker there. And I don't know whether Adam's car is going to recover from that, but that was a really, really hard hit. I'm not sure whether Ben's car's going to recover there. He's not. So really, really disappointing there for our series leader, and you don't want to be taken out like that, that's for sure. So just getting back up to the front here, and Lars Jepperson's really, really streaked away, and a great opening lap here, 27.015, so significantly faster. Mick Hammond in 5th at 29.2, so straight away 2.2 seconds over there. Tim Ryan's also very loose. Those cones are going everywhere, so Mick Hammond will make that place up in the 4th. Ryan had to back right out of that on exit of turn 1, and even now in turn 2 looking uncomfortable, just braking a little bit deep there. So position made for Mick Hammond. Looking forward to seeing now he's got some clear air what that Ford GT could do. It's certainly the fastest car in a straight line. I think it was anything up to 11 kilometers an hour faster than BMW in practice, but even behind him, like Cohen Plotman has gone off as well. So a messy start, must be said, and Benjamin Hakeson has left the server, and whoa, now what's going on there? I reckon there was a bit of netcode there with Kevin Huang and Cohen Plotman, because Kevin Huang in the 212 has also just looped that, just that little bit. Good recovery, it has to be said, but it's a pretty messy start all around. So Zotinga didn't have to pit, it looks like. It looks like he's able to continue on, albeit down in 16th position. And I said Hakeson has left the server, unfortunately. I just think it looks pretty clean, that car, so I'm thinking that he may have pitted, would have Adam, because it doesn't look like there's any damage on there now. So yeah, in a race where you don't have to fuel save, it's going to be a big hit here, and he's just having a look, 30 seconds off the lead, so not going to expect to see that MS limited edition car doing too much damage for the scoreboard tonight. And Tino Hauser is also in 15th place, so he's a little bit up the road. He's obviously had some dramas as well, so not sure what's happened to Tino, but he's dropped off a bit, and especially considering a bit of carnage in front, you would think that he would have gained positions, but he's obviously made a mistake. DK Lee, we talked about him before. Looks like we've got a good little battle here though between Kevin Huang and I think it's Jason Bentz, recovering from what was a poor collie. Yes, it was. So this is a battle for 11th and 12th in the Archipelago Racing McLaren MP4 12C, looking at absolute mint. The KRD race design there took Jake Blackhall on to get this car looking like it does now. But Jason Bent's certainly looking the faster of the two. Just trying to keep it clean, but just get the car settled in. Like I said, tyres are so important here, and they're just going to have to balance themselves out and get consistent lap times without being brilliant just yet, because the time to attack will be later on. There is no pit stops. So certainly the top three, they haven't sprinted away from each other. Lars Jepperson's opening lap was very good, but since then Wickelman has certainly steadied the ship, hasn't he? The HPP car there has looking an absolute mint green Hornet racing car, and he's certainly starting to peg back a bit here. 22.048, pretty much identical lap times between the top three, and in fact you can look at Mick Hammond with Tobias Cherney. They are within one hundredth of a second of each other. So the great thing here is that there's four cars, and of those four cars, actually the top five, in the top five cars there's four different makes. So the series second, Paul Lonergan, chance him to cash in here. He's in 6th position at the moment. Not sure he's got the race pace. I'm not sure the BMW is the favoured car around here, but it's a great chance for him to try and capitalise and get some points. And Tim Ryan again on exit of turn 1. I wouldn't want to be a fellow who has to replace those cones every time because it's a full-time job. So it's not a race where we need to fuel save, so you know the strategy part isn't as necessary this week. Obviously, I'm thinking that maybe Lars might need to fuel save, but he doesn't. So he hasn't exactly sprinted away from the field. The car 023 for Mad Cow, and I thought he might have opened up. It was a really good opening lap, but Anthony Winkelman here certainly all over the back of now 3/10 of a second quicker last lap, and that was lap 5. Expecting this race to run for 33 laps. As we keep saying, fuel doesn't seem to be a problem, but gee whiz, Anthony Winkelman looking very racy here, and just seems to be able to take a tighter line on the exit of the last turn. Just seems to carry a fair bit more speed, so catching is one thing, passing is another. Not sure he's going to need to pass yet. He's just going to be sitting there waiting his time, whether he's going to think Lars is going to make a mistake. He doesn't make a hell of a lot of mistakes. Hope I haven't put commentator's curse on him, but he's doing a very good job. Let's see what he can do with this draft. I'm just going to sit inside the car of Anthony Winkelman here and see what this draft can do. Doesn't look too significant, does it? And I don't think there's any gains made there, but at the same time he doesn't have to make any gains yet. Just got to sit here, put a little bit of pressure on Lars. We're only on lap 6, so we've still got a long way to go, and he's just doing a nice steady job behind him. Tobias Cherney, we know what kind of seasoned pro Tobias is. He'll do a good job week in, week out, but like I said, I think this is a race that the McLarens will burn tyres. So I think as the race goes on, you'll probably start to see Tobias struggle a little bit. It's certainly not because of the driver. I think it's more holding solid because the car just carries so much weight, that McLaren. And behind him, Mick Hammond has certainly been very competitive. The laser car there, and I'm not sure whether he's still here or not. No, he is. Adams, I think, is still there, but it must be a very lonely race for him. He's got to try and pick up some pieces. Matt Shinovsky is also back in the race, but up at the front here, this is where the battle still is. Winkelman and Lars Jessupen. We'll just stay with this a little bit. And it just looks like he's stalking him, doesn't he? Winkelman does look very comfortable. You can get guys who are good at leading races, and you get guys who struggle to lead at races. I'm very confident that Lars is a very good leader of a race, and he doesn't have any problems whatsoever with taking the front, driving away from a pack, or leading a pack and staying with even if the pack stays with him. He doesn't tend to make a lot of mistakes. We talked about that already, but he's just good at just keeping his nose clean, keeping his air clean, getting the guy behind him. He could be burning his tyres so much more by being in that draft there around these corners. So lap 8 now we're on, and the race is just settling in, isn't it? It's building. You can just see the way it's just building up very nicely. Like I said, no pit stop, so the guys don't have to worry about saving fuel. I think Tim Ryan in 5th place had some slight concerns about fuel, but he's doing a good job. just slightly off pace at the moment. He's going to probably, hopefully for the team, just take some points off of some other drivers here. Yeah, in particular, the guy coming as second in the championship, Paul Lonergan, and he's got to try and keep his nose in front of the Green Hornets car there, because we know what's happened with the series leader. Got shunted pretty badly, has to be said, early on. But you know, it's certainly not a deliberate incident. Certainly just a bit clumsy, has to be said. But it's the type of thing that changes a series. Just little innocent mistakes where you got no part of. And yeah, I'm sure Ben didn't want to be part of it either, but just missed his braking point so badly. Looking behind this battle for the lead, Tobias Cheney has got Mick Hammond all over the back of him now. Tobias is 22.752, so we can see the lapse time starting to fall down a little bit here. They with the 22.2s, 22.3s, the 22.1 for Mick Hammond. He's now fallen down to the 22.7, so it could be a bit of tyres already. And I do know that the BMW is able to hang on to its tyres very, very well. So keep half an eye out open for Tim Ryan behind. Just amazing the progress of the Audi. I think, like from when it first got released, I think correct me if I'm wrong, the Audi and the Merc came out at the same time, and the Audi was just so hard to drive. It just didn't look like it rode the bumps at all, and certainly had to keep it on the black stuff. Couldn't ride the curbs either, and it was just very twitchy. But it just looks now like it's getting to be a better all-round car, doesn't it? Certainly not suited on. You can see at Spa last week, it took pole position and actually was leading the race, but both those leading Audis at separate times, once they start getting loose, that back just seems to grip, and away it goes. It's very, very hard to control once it gets loose, but you know, if you can keep it on the straight and narrow there, it does look like a good car. So 22.3 for Lars, 22.5 for Winkleman, 22.7s a pair of them for Hammond and for Tobias and for Tim Ryan as well. So all those times very, very close, dropping down to 22.9s for the chasing pack there. So it's just steady at the moment, lap 10, so still a long, long way to go. My voice isn't going to hang on for this long, I can tell you that right now, Scotty. So fill in some gaps for us.
Yeah, no worries, Brenton. Just looking for a...
Well, they're going to be coming out for lapping Matt Shanosky soon. Matty didn't have the greatest start, it has to be said. Obviously, he made that mistake on exit turn 1. And I'm just thinking, because he couldn't get into the pit, so had to travel the entire lap around, go very, very slowly. Actually, no, sorry, took a tow and then took a quick repair, so it's the equivalent of losing the lap there, so he's going to be right out of the running, you would think.
Yeah, with a minute tow and the unfortunate mistake at turn 1. Yeah, it means that he has lost about 90 seconds or something like that, so which is unfortunate for him. So, which is he about to be lapped into Key Hollow. He'll be jumping out of the way of the leaders fairly soon.
We've had a position change as well. Tobias Cheney and Mick Hammond have swapped spots. That's the third position. This is what I'm saying. The McLaren's big, it's heavy, it's just lumbersome around here, and it's going to keep falling backwards, I think. It's nothing to do with the driver. It's holding solid to do with the car. It's a great car to drive at tracks like Monza and probably Imola too. I think it would go fairly well there, but around these tracks here, these little fairly free flowing, try and get that right, but it doesn't like the slow corners, I don't think, and there's a couple of those here where it does tend to struggle, and it's burning its tyres already, and I can see that Tobias looks like he's struggling. The understeer that car has got right there is very, very real, and no doubt I can just see that further. Here we are. She won last week's race, but that was more of a strategy thing. I don't think it's an outright speed thing. So Leperson, oh my gosh, that's so bad. Sorry, Lars. Lars Jefferson, oh my god. Lars has put in a couple of strong laps here, put himself out to a 1.2 second lead. So the pressure that Anthony Winkelman was able to put on before has certainly just dropped off at the moment. Now, whether, as we're saying with Winkelman, his tyres, especially his fronts, might have been hurting a little bit from just sitting so close in the draft of the Mad Cow Audi, and maybe he's just not going to be able to maintain that speed. 22.5 a pair of them, but that's now that they're out in the close, cleaner air. But whether he can stay close enough to him. Mick Hammond's the one to watch now that he's been released from the McLaren of Tobias Cherny, whether Mick in the car 5 here, who has some really good races in him, and then every once in a while gets, makes a mistake here or there, or gets involved in an incident, and it probably does cost him a lot of points, like championship, maybe even points. But he's got a good car underneath him right now in the Ford GT, and he is just 3.9 seconds off the lead the last time round. This time now 4.5 seconds, so a 6/10 fall there. That is significant this time of the race, and I reckon that BMW in the back of Team Orion is also starting to make some gains. It's a pretty good field, isn't it? And some very, very strong names.
Yeah, definitely, especially with like the likes of Lars and Winkelman either being at the top of the Blancpain Sprint Series official races or BES Pro Series. Yeah, it's great to see the caliber of drivers that are here, especially putting on good close racing, and it's been actually quite consistent, given the fact that it's quite a hot track and fairly difficult to control the cars, especially in the McLaren, with those tyres being overheated and with the car tending to snap oversteer sometimes, especially with the off-camber corners as well. So yeah, it's a nice clean race overall so far.
Yeah, it is. Well, taking away the fact that their championship leader got involved, but we've been through that, and Ben's apologised, so we'll move on. But it's what's going to happen like that. Just 23.1 last lap at 23.2. This lap is now starting to fall enough away that it's going to become insignificant in regards to this race. And I'm sure Tobias doesn't think I think he's insignificant, but that McLaren is dead in the water, I think, and it's not going to get any better. Nick Hammond with a 22.9, as with the Winkelman car. But Lars Jefferson has just stretched this lead even more. 22.4, so that's actually his third fastest lap of the race, so he's showing a clean set of heels here, already out to 2.1 seconds last lap, and it just looks very, very balanced, Lars does. And this is the type of thing where I know he didn't race in one of the races and had a poor race in another one, I think. Don't quote me on that off the top of my head, but he's now looking very, very dangerous for the championship. He's certainly got this thing really hooked up, not just here but in other races as well, and he's got the strategy that normally can get the job done. Yeah,
definitely. It's definitely looking as though he's got hooked up, especially given the fact that he is about to come across the line now with a 22.2 against a 22.7. So yeah, Lars is just absolutely streaking away at the moment.
Yeah, well, Lars won in round 2. Was at Watkins Glen, I think, and then came second in round 3. Didn't compete in rounds 1 and 4, and is only 50 points off of the series lead. So that just shows you where Lars Jefferson sits in this championship. With a couple of drop rounds, you would actually be thinking as he does other, competes the rest of the race. I know the series lead at the moment, Adams, I think, is going to be missing at minimum 2 races coming up in the future. He's going around holidays, half his luck, so he's going to be dropping down the order there, but it's what he can pick up later on. But he was Lars Jefferson is really, really streeting the field here now, isn't he? And he's just getting further and further away. It's getting to the stage it's a dominant performance.
Yeah, definitely.
So we'll go back now. The battle now is between Tim Ryan and Tobias Cherney, the Maverick welding car. It's just making gain after gain. Tobias Cherney, which said before, he's a dead duck in the water. Tobias, unfortunately, he's going to keep finding himself falling down the order in lap 15. So we're not quite halfway into this race now. Into lap 16 will get us certainly that little bit closer, but don't expect the Tim Ryan car to be sitting too long behind Tobias. I would think that there'll be a change in position here shortly.
Yeah, looks as though Tobias is struggling a little bit, but I think he'll be able to stay ahead, especially going into turn 4. Just with the available top speed of the McLaren compared to the BM, even though that the BM is in the draft, it might be 5 or 6 kilometers an hour slower, even with the drafts, as they're coming up to turn 4 now. So Tobias holds on to that position so far, and Tim applying lots of pressure, and hopefully there'll be a clean pass if there's a change of position.
I'm thinking that Tim would be lining Tobias up in turn 2. I don't think there's really much opportunity at the end of turn 4. Because like you said, the McLaren's just going to stretch his legs and away it goes. So Tim probably going to have to set himself up, right from the last turn, or even right about here where they are now. And he's probably going to drop off a little bit, one would think, just a little bit wide on entry. But set himself up for an overtaking on turn 2. Get some good drive here out of the last turn, which he's done. Tobias again, the 23 flat, but this is the important turn here. So long as you don't lose too much speed in the wash here, whether he's close enough, certainly not close enough here, but this is where Tim Ryan's going to have to look at making that pass. Just needed that extra car length, didn't he? And he's now going to be able to sit right behind him, but the McLaren's just going to stretch his leg, release all the horses, and away he goes.
Yeah, just looking at the live speeds at the moment, and even without the draft, Tobias is at least 4 or 5 kilometers an hour faster. So it's as you said, Tim's just going to have to set it up through the final sector of the lap, and hopefully he can stay close and get past in turn 2.
Well, it's good battling here though. The racing's been clean between the two so far. Just so long as Tim can stay patient. He had a couple of good races this week, just out of pure patience, where he wasn't the fastest car but had the right strategy. This in the Blancpain Sprint Series, where they do need a pit stop. But if Tim thinks it's going to be hard to pass Tobias in a straight line, well, you wait till you try and pass that Ford GT in front. That's if he even gets him. Really, really close here. This is where he needs to be attacking. Little bit of oversteer there on the exit, certainly washed a bit of speed away. But this is the part now, turn 1, under this bridge, can hug the left even a little bit closer, get on the power early. He's done a really good job here. I would expect a move now, because we know that this BMW is very, very good under brakes. And Tobias, this is going to be... Yeah, that's alright, there was no contact. No contact. Geez, it was deep, but no contact. Let's see if Tobias can fight back here. Tim's going to have to certainly take the defensive line, because Tobias is so much quicker down the back here. This is going to be some great racing here. We know that the BMW is going to be favoured under brakes. Just don't outbrake yourself, Reiner, and you'll have the job done. That is sorted. I can't see Tobias making ground back there. So Tim Ryan up in the 4th position. Good driving there. Certainly no contact. A lot of heavy pressure has to be said. Whether Tobias probably released because he thought he was going to tag, not sure. But at the end of the day, the faster car has got through, and now he'll chase down, you would think, Mick Hammond, who also seems to be struggling as well. 22.9 last lap. So I'm driving an Audi, or maybe even a BMW, but certainly the Audi, you're in a bit of struggle street.
Yeah, it looks as though that the Audis are being pretty consistent at the moment, even with the Ford GT giving similar pace at the moment, with Lars on 22.8 on the previous lap compared to Mick Hammond 600 slower with a high 22.8. So it's pretty even across those two cars on the circuit.
Also having a look at Paul Nelson, the Mo Audi as well, and he's got Cohen Klotman chasing him down in the Mercedes as well, with Jason Vance, who's doing a reasonable job at recovery here. Started 15th on the grid, got himself up into 9th, so slowly getting himself back into this race, and he's got a couple of cars in front of him that I think that Bence has got a bit of pace on at the moment. Really enjoy the way that Jason's made such a significant improvement. I'm not just talking here in the GT3s, but other categories as well, like the improvement that he's driven in the V8 supercars, probably over the last 6 to 12 months, has been amazing. He's now very competitive. He makes a couple of mistakes, but yeah, he drives very close to the edge a lot of the time. But in this car, the Ford GT3, it certainly looks like it suits him. And I remember some of the pace he had early in the season was significant, but may have just been caught out, I think, at Road America with the strategy there, which may have cost him the win, or was it Watkins? Might have been Watkins that cost him the win. But he's looking very competitive here with Cohen Klotman. Certainly isn't putting the pressure on the back of Paul Nelson like I thought he might. In fact, Nelson was actually just there for half a second quicker that last lap. So long way to go. Well, sorry, 13-14 laps to go. So the laps are counting down. But Cohen Klotman, for someone who's been very competitive in regards to possible race wins, is certainly down on pace here.
Yeah, I think with Cohen's changing car, I think it was in either the Audi or the Ford GT at the start of the season.
Yeah.
Just trying to adapt to the Mercedes AMG, which is quite a different car compared to those other two that I mentioned. And yeah, he's quite a fast driver. Maybe just a little bit of an adaptability issue that he's trying to find with the Mercedes, as he just runs a little bit wide, and Benson's trying to make his way through, and he has managed to do so.
Yeah, so again there, the Merc, it's certainly been fairly quiet here, hasn't it? And I know at the BES Pro race last week, the 6-hour race, the INEX race. Oh!
As Cohen goes off.
Talking about Mercs being quiet. So talking about Mercs being quiet, it wasn't real quiet there. That sound of a car smashing into a wall, and he's actually already withdrawn from the service. So, gee whiz, that's disappointing for Cohen. I'm thinking maybe he didn't get the race laps in this week as he would want, because normally very competitive. And we're just going to say a big congrats to the INEX racing team. What a completely dominant position that was last week, first, second and third in the Pro Series, if you don't mind, against the very best in the world. And I don't think we'll see that happening again soon. But that's the type of thing there where series leader Adam Zeitinger has now got himself up into 13th. So he was originally in 16th, chipping away now, has got himself to 13th, putting some pressure on Tino Houser, whose pace has been disappointing. So now this battle will go up one spot, will it, with Cohen Klotman? So this will end up being a battle for 11th spot by the time they circulate around another lap. So a good little recovery here from Adam. I'm thinking that the next car down the road, Kevin Huang, might not be able to get to him. Kevin at 23.8. Adam held up a little bit, has to be known, with a 23.4. So wouldn't think that he's going to be able to get any higher than this. And also being 17 seconds behind is also significant. The time at the front there between Lars and Anthony Winkleman has certainly stabilised a little bit. 3.9 seconds now has certainly calmed down a bit. But also, I think now we've got to start heading back towards the Maverick Welding car of Tim Ryan, who's just got himself a 22.6 last lap, so half a second gain, another one of those laps, and all of a sudden he's going to be in the draft, and Mick will not in any way, shape or form be easy to overtake. That is a beast of a car, that Ford GT, and it's going to be so much harder to pass in a straight line. And also, this is where the battle is right now. Tobias Cherney now holding off Paul Lonigan. Lonigan in second place overall in the team leading Green Hornets racing car in this BMW. And like we said, the Tobias. The tyres are they're cooked. They're absolutely cooked. Fry an egg on them and pass it around, because Tobias is just going to forever find himself going backwards, and even could come under attack from 7th and maybe 8th as the race goes on.
Yeah, with the 46-degree track temperature, I think that I saw, yeah, those tyres would be pretty much shot by now, given the fact that there's 14 minutes on the clock to go, and the McLaren just not very good on its tyres. So, yeah, as you say, Tobias looks as though he's flying a little bit back, doing similar times to the guys behind him, but yeah, Paul about 1.5 tenths quicker the last lap as he's applying the pressure to Tobias now.
Just also, we don't get a chance to show this guy that often. Yazrin Yali, the Car 81 Archipelago Racing team, he's always thereabouts, and he's got himself in the top 10 this race. He just shows steady pace, and to be fair, we probably don't get to see him in too many battles. He does tend to, drive a bit of a solo race, but we just want to highlight that Yazrin Yali does do a good job week in, week out, and these are the races where other people have made mistakes, where he capitalises and gets himself some decent haul of points, and that all goes well for him in the whole series.
Yeah, Yazrin's been quite a consistent driver in the races that I've been able to participate in the series. Yeah, as you say, just capitalising on the mistakes, however small, of the drivers that he passes, and yeah, it's good to see that he's been able to get a top 10 so far. Don't want to put the commentator's curse on him, but yeah, I hope that he has a decent finish for the race.
Well, it will be a season high for him, down in 20th in the championship at the moment, just on the 40 points. So he's got DK Lee, also someone who drives week in, week out. DK does struggle at times, he'll say that himself, but these are the races where DK and Yazrin, they can wake their way through the order just that little bit more, and some healthy points on offer here for Yazrin today. And just in front here, the battle now is certainly lighting up between Paul Nelson and Jason Benson. I'm just going to have a look here for a second.
Yeah, with Bed's been 4 tenths quicker the last lap as they're coming across the line. Nelson just defending heavily into turn 1. Yeah, Benz was just under 2 tenths faster the last lap at 22.8. So Benz, as he looks into turn 2, unable to make the move. But yeah, he'll have a massive run going into turn 4 as Nelson runs a little bit wide. Yeah, it doesn't look as though Benz has got the legs on Nelson in the Audi at the moment as it's heading to turn 4.
And around the
outside
for Jason Benz. How cool? Or has he? Yeah,
he's got it.
Touch. Wow, pass of the day there for sure. Sorry, I just had a something I've had to privately. So, what's happened to Mick Hammond? Oh, there's been contact. There's definitely been contact. Oh yeah. Oh, that's not great. It's not great. It's not great. It's I think Tim Ryan stuck his nose in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's just understeered into the back of him. So, not sure if he's going to redress that. Doesn't look like. I'm reckoning he should redress for sure there, because he was in the wrong. So I shall just type him a message. Done. So hopefully he'll redress that position, because it was definitely opportunistic move. And if he redresses here, he won't, because he's not going to catch the first two. Okay, we know that he's too far down the road. He's 8 seconds down the road, so he's got an opportunity here to redress, lose that position back, but then hook in and pass again without penalty. And he really should redress that.
Yeah, he's got time to, with still 9 minutes on the clock, so if he redresses that, he'll definitely have multiple opportunities to pass, even though that was quite an opportunistic move. It's quite a tight section of track. I think it's turn 10 or 11 in there, and it's only really a single file line all the way around to where they're coming up to now, the start-finish line.
Pretty confident he's going to redress that. Very confident he's going to redress it, shall we say? Because it was a driver error. I think he's about to address the error by redressing the position. So accidents happen, incidents happen. Now he can hook back into it, and I'm hoping that Mick Hammond appreciates that, because I'm sure that BMW is the faster car, but now it's back on. He shouldn't get any penalty from that because he has readdressed it. Now he can try and make a safer, fairer pass and get back to the same points that he would have had before. And so let's just keep our eye on this. This is a good battle here between the Ford GT and the BMW. What that's done is bring Tobias Cherney a lot closer behind. But again, I don't think he's going to get there. The frustration thing here for Tim Ryan is that the BMW is just so much slower in a straight line, so he's going to have to find a way at some stage into the corners, either on entry or exit, to try and find a way of getting through. We saw what Jason Bent was able to do. He was actually able to pass on the outside, but the Hammond car there looks to be really taily at the moment.
Yeah, with the available downforce on the BMW, it's definitely got the traction out of the corners, but even with that available traction, it's still a little bit slow as Tim Ryan runs a little bit wide out of turn 1. But yeah, it will be definitely an interesting race to see whether he can close back up in the next 7 or so minutes of this race.
Yeah, so we've got, what are we on, lap 28, so expecting another 5 laps. The race pace at the front hasn't been scintillating, has to be said. 4.4 seconds back. So since we talked last time about the gap at front, probably 10 minutes ago, it's only half a second, but very controlled by Lars Jefferson. He's, you would think he's going to win this race at the slowest speed possible, which is what it's all about, and he hasn't put a foot out of place as yet. But I'm still very interested here as to what Tim Ryan can do, whether he can catch Mick Hammond at all. It just doesn't look like he's got the car underneath at the moment. Whether he sustained a bit of damage from that incident, don't know. Certainly, and even now, looks a bit difficult to drive. And Tobias Cherney hasn't gone away. Maybe Tobias has been saving his tyres, and actually really surprised that Lonergan hasn't been able to get past it at all from Tobias. So this is where the closest battle is, 4th, 5th, 6th and 7th, even though there's a few car lengths between them all. But this gap can close really quickly at the end. So loving to see the speed of the Ford GT compared to the BMW. It's just such it's just a beast in a straight line, isn't it? And we can see the gains that the BMW makes, and the fact that Tim has to really drive this car hard here in this technical twisty section, whereas all the hard work that Mick Hammond has to do is put his foot down, go flat and straight line. He makes every bit of gain back. So not sure how Tim's going to make a move here. We saw what he was able to do with Tobias Cherney, good half a dozen laps ago now, and he's slowly chasing down Mick Hammond. We saw an incident now about 3 or 4 laps ago. We're on end of lap 29, about to start lap 30, so thinking that there's just 3 laps to go. But again, some good gains made here by Tim Ryan, but he just doesn't have that car underneath him. Really just needed to get a stronger quality and to get himself ahead of the Ford GT, because even with the draft, it's not doing enough.
Yeah, even with the previous lap, Tim was about 0.2 of a second, as he's got good drive out of the keyhole there at turn 2. Just unable to use the draft, even though he's obviously unable to use the top speed, even though he was in the draft, because it was 4 or 5 k's slower, just due to that extra downforce. But as you said, yeah, he'll click.
And that just makes Mick's life that much easier, doesn't it? He knows he's not going to be under attack in the main 2 passing areas. He's just got to make sure he can maintain his line, be like a cricket bowler, line and length, and make sure he's got the concentrate on the entry, concentrate on the exit, get the power down at the right time, and he's not going to feel too threatened. But Tim Ryan certainly at this part now looks closer than last lap, and these lap times just whittle away very, very quickly. Already again now exiting the last turn, and Ryan definitely closer. So it could come down to how good a drive he gets out of here, and don't do anything too greedy into turn 2. But Rhino certainly seems to have good drive here, and Hammond just on the grass on the exit, but no, again, not close enough.
Yeah, to be honest, I think the lap car of, I think it's a DK Lee in front of Michael Hammond and Tim Ryan might come into a factor. So just depends on whether they actually can get past DK in a sensible part of the circuit, which will be, I think, a critical factor of whether a pass happens between these two.
So the BMW's even behind with Lonigan and Tobias. The BMWs are so much quicker. It looks, a bit of a tap there from Paul on Tobias, and certainly nothing too major, and Paul was able to back out of that pretty much straight away. But the BMWs are quick around the circuit, but they're not quick in a straight line, and that's where you pass cars. So again, even closer. He just needs an extra car length. He's got a good drive here out. Exit of the last turn, lap 32, thinking there's this lap and 1 to go. He is definitely closer. Going to keep an eye out for this here. He's going to, or Hammond already straight away on defence. So changes may be happening here. Let's just see how much drive he can get out. See if he can pick up. I have a bad feeling that very bad things are about to happen, because this is the closest by far that Tim Ryan's been able to get to. And again, defensive by Mick Hammond. So Ryan's got him thinking, have they contacted there? I think they did a little bit. I think there was slight contact there, very, very slight, and was just held up. Mick just did some pretty decent defensive drive in there, and that's just got Tim Ryan a little bit off. He's dropped probably about 3 or 4 car lengths there, and now he's going to loop it. Is he? Nah, that's not going to happen for Rhino now. So now he's just looking over his shoulder. He's not looking forward. He's looking back to see if anyone's going to overtake him. I don't think Tobias is going to get to him. I reckon that's pretty close to game, set and match there.
Yeah, just come up to around about 30 seconds to go. With this may be the last lap. Just depends on whether how iRacing triggers when it triggers the last lap.
Well, there won't be any pit stops, so this will be the last lap, I'm pretty sure. I think that's what's been throwing the boys off earlier on in the season, when the lead car decides to pit on the last lap, and it gives them 1 extra lap to do. So it will just concentrate here on the Mad Cow Racing 023 car, and it looks very, very comfortable, doesn't it? Doesn't look like there's a scratch on it. Might have hit a couple of locusts on the way through, but apart from that, there's nothing at all happening. And I can tell you right now that he's going to be very, very convincingly the driver of the day in my eyes, because he has not stepped out of line. So thinking that the white flag will probably come out just before he crosses. So we'll soon see whether it's a 33 or 34 lap race.
No, the checker's out. So
Checker's out.
yeah.
Checker's out. So checker's out. So congratulations to Lars Jefferson, winner here at the Mid Ohio Sports, and very dominant, as we said. Very, very dominant. That will not do his title chances any harm whatsoever. Mick Hammond was able to hold off Tim Ryan there. So third place for the Ford GT, fourth for Tim Ryan, and he shouldn't get any penalty from that. He did redress. Tobias Tuning holding off Paul Lonigan, and Jason Bentz was recovering quite well as well. Paul Nelson struggled at the end there. Yazrin Yali almost got to him. Where did Adam Zeitinger recover to? 10th. So as big a disaster as that could have been, and it wasn't great for our championship leader, and certainly not the result he wanted considering he's going away, but he has got himself back up into the top 10. And Kevin Huang will bring it home in 11th place. I'm just thinking maybe Kevin had a bit of an issue there late. Tino Hauser just listening to Tim and Mick Hammond to have a bit of a chat. Oh, and Kevin Huang's actually binned it on the exit. Did he hold on to that position? Yes, he did. By 9/10 of a second there. So, yeah, a bit clumsy by Kevin there at the end, but that is going to be the end of that. So we'll go through those results there for you. Lars Jefferson for Audi Mad Cow Racing, 45.5 minute race in front of Anthony Wickham by the 4 seconds. Mick Hammond 12 seconds back. So the two Audis really did dominate this race, didn't they? Tim Ryan, we saw recovered from the fourth from 6 on the grid. Tobias was always going to be plummeting down with the heavier Macar. Paul Lonigan, second championship, might be, I don't know where he's going to be at with 6. 8th in quali up into 6. Jason Bentz, 15th quali up into 7th. A good job there. Paul Nelson. Yazri Yali got him to 9th, and Adam Zeitinger in 10th. Kevin Huang, Tino Hauser would be disappointed. Simone Jorge Sanchez, 13th tonight, so that's a good job. 2 6, let's get rid of that noise in the background. Get rid of that noise, sorry. Jason Scully, Dick Lee, and Matt Shinovsky, we saw the dramas that he had right from the outset. So that is done. Now there won't be any interviews tonight, Scotty. So if you want to have a chat with Mick, I think Mick Hammond's below right there. You're more than welcome to, but I'm just going to duck off, my young fellas. It's crooked the dog's hind leg. So if it's alright with you, I'm going to take my leave. Yep. You're more than welcome to stick around, Scotty, but I shall be out of here, and looking forward to next week's race. I'm not sure where that is, to be honest with you.
Yeah, to be honest, I'm unsure of where we're at next week. Yeah, I will drag up Mick Hammond as I'm doing that, if he's available for interview.
So who's that? We'll get there. Mick Hammond's right here.
Okay.
Oh, now he's out again. And now he's back again. We'll do a really quick one. Mick, welcome to Apex Racing TV's coverage of round 4 here of the Sim Racers Asia Series at Mid Ohio. The Ford GT, mate. Tell us a bit about it. It's pretty quick in a straight line, but how long and how well was it able to hang on to its tyres?
Well, how young guys? Made the switch last week because basically team orders. But the Ford GT is really strong in straight line. Really good on the first quarter of the race, but then you start to get the tyre deg in it. And it's just really just trying to conserve it and not let the back end swing around on you.
So obviously, Jason's laid down the letter of the law to try and get some help there with the setups for it, because he's third in the championship. Probably not sure he got a lot of running in this week, a bit down this week overall. But mate, the change, was that what it's for, or was it just for other purposes?
Oh, I was getting left behind in the BMW, and
Yeah.
coming with the when we get to Northcliffe for the endurance, I'm gonna have to be driving the Ford anyway. So in my book, I just thought might as well start driving now, get used to it for when we get to the endurance round.
Exactly right, mate. And we saw in your race third tonight. You'd be pretty happy with that. Bit of a drama there with Tim Ryan, probably with about 8-9 laps to go. Just got tagged on the back, but yeah, he recovered pretty quickly.
Yeah, no, that's racing. Yeah, had a bit of words to him after it happened, but not harsh words, but yeah, just asked me if he was going to redress, and yeah, he redressed, which was very kind of him.
It was, and mate, is there anyone you want to thank at all?
Just a shout out to Laser Racing, Angry Birds Racing, and that's about it.
Well, mate, looking forward to next week. Do you know where they're racing next week? If you can tell us, Mick.
No, because I haven't looked at the calendar that far yet.
It's all good.
Yeah, I just looked it up. It's they're actually racing at Spa, so that'll be quite an interesting track.
Oh yeah,
Right. Yes, that's right, Spa.
that's going to be a really nice track with a Ford GT, I reckon.
It's just going to be so hard to pass you guys if you're in a BMW. That BMW is just a brick down the straight, isn't it? And it was shown tonight. So, but mate, good job tonight, third, and that will obviously do a good job towards your team's championship as well, which is getting pretty solid results week in, week out.
Yeah, thanks. Cheers, guys, and do an awesome job with the telecast as
and happy
always.
happy birthday for the week too, I think, Nick.
Yeah, last Sunday.
Last Sunday, so 62 years old, Mick, so congratulations for that. See ya.
Righto, see ya.
And that is it for me, Scotty. I am out the door. Spa next week, looking forward to that.
Yeah, definitely. I'll be looking forward to that one as well. Not sure if Alex will be back in the booth next week, as I don't think there's any World Championship commitments. So we'll just have to wait and see. But if not, I'll be back in the booth next week as always. Thanks for coming back, Brenton, and contacting with me, as you do a fine job every week. I'd also like to thank the viewers as well for this round of Mid Ohio, and to all the viewers for the season as well. As it's been really good this season. So I'm gonna play us out, and this has been Apex Racing TV at Mid Ohio, and we'll see you for the next round at Spa. Take care.